The sting of betrayal is a universal human experience, a sharp blade that cuts through the fabric of trust we weave around our lives. We often walk through the world with our hearts open, seeking connection, only to find that some hands we reach for are cold, calculating, or simply indifferent to our well-being. This guide is not merely about identifying the fake people in your life. It is a profound journey into the Stoic art of emotional invincibility. Stoicism, an ancient Greek and Roman philosophy, teaches us that while we cannot control the actions of others, we have absolute sovereignty over our internal reactions. Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor, once wrote that the best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injury. This wisdom serves as our foundation. Over the next several hours of discourse, we will dismantle the pain of betrayal, examine the anatomy of a fake friend, and reconstruct a version of yourself that is so anchored in virtue and self-reliance that no amount of external deceit can shake your inner peace. We will explore how to transform the trauma of being let down into a powerful catalyst for personal evolution. Chapter 1. The Illusion of Loyalty, Understanding the Fair-Weather Friend. The first step in Stoic wisdom is the practice of objective observation, which the Stoics called phantasia kataleptike, seeing things exactly as they are without the coloring of our emotions. Often we suffer not because people changed, but because we refuse to see who they truly were from the beginning. A fake friend is frequently a person of utility. To them, friendship is a transaction, a ledger of what can be gained rather than a bond of shared virtue. These are the fair-weather companions Seneca warned about, those who are present when the sun is shining and the wine is flowing, but vanish at the first scent of a storm. In this chapter, we must confront the reality that many people enter our lives for a season or a reason, and to expect eternal loyalty from someone who lacks internal character is a logical error on our part. We must look at the patterns. Does this person only appear when they have a void to fill or a favor to ask? Do they celebrate your victories with a forced smile while their eyes betray a hidden resentment? Stoicism teaches us to love mankind but to trust only in virtue. By understanding that a person's betrayal is a reflection of their own internal chaos and lack of self-discipline, we begin to detach our self-worth from their actions. You are not lesser because someone failed to value you. Rather, they have simply revealed their inability to perceive value. We must learn to view these individuals not with anger, but with a form of pity, as they are slaves to their impulses and social greed, whereas the Stoic seeks to be a master of his own soul. Chapter 2. The Stoic Test, Distinguishing Virtue from Utility. In the Stoic tradition, specifically within the writings of Epictetus, there is a fundamental distinction between things that are up to us and things that are not up to us. A person's character falls into the latter category for everyone except that person themselves. However, our judgment of their character is entirely within our control. Chapter 2 focuses on the Stoic Test, a mental framework for evaluating the people we allow into our inner circle. We must understand that most human relationships are built on one of three foundations: pleasure, utility, or virtue. The first two are inherently fake, or at least temporary. A friendship of pleasure lasts only as long as you are fun to be around. A friendship of utility lasts only as long as you are useful. Only a friendship of virtue, based on mutual respect for character and the pursuit of the good, is enduring. To handle betrayal, you must first recognize that you may have been treating a relationship of utility as if it were a relationship of virtue. This is a cognitive error. The Stoic practitioner uses objective representation to strip away the masks people wear. When a friend speaks, do their actions over time create a consistent pattern, or is there a moral gap between their words and their deeds? Seneca suggests that we should choose as a guide one whom you will admire more when you see him act than when you hear him speak. If you find yourself surrounded by people who speak of loyalty but act out of envy, you are not a victim of their malice as much as you are a victim of your own refusal to see the truth. The test involves observing how they treat those who can do nothing for them, waiters, subordinates, or even enemies. If they are cruel or dismissive to others, It is only a matter of time before that same cruelty is turned toward you. Furthermore, the Stoic Test requires us to look inward. Are we attracting fake friends because we ourselves are seeking validation or utility? Like attracts like. If we seek friends to boost our ego or help our careers, we will attract those who view us through the same transactional lens. True Stoic friendship is Socratic. It is a partnership in becoming better humans. If a friend discourages your growth, mocks your discipline, or feels threatened by your self-mastery, they have failed the Stoic test. Identifying this early is not an act of cynicism, but an act of prohairesis, the protection of your own moral choice. By realizing that a fake friend is simply a person operating at a lower level of consciousness and character, you remove the emotional sting. You cannot be betrayed by someone you never truly trusted with your soul in the first place. You simply acknowledge that their nature has revealed itself, much as a thorn bush eventually reveals its thorns despite its initial green leaves. Chapter 3. The Anatomy of Deceit. Why Humans Betray. To the Stoic, understanding the root cause of an injury is the first step toward neutralizing the pain. We often view betrayal as a personal attack, a deliberate attempt to harm our soul. However, Marcus Aurelius reminds us in his Meditations that to expect the bad to do no wrong is madness. In this chapter, we dissect the anatomy of deceit not to excuse the fake friend, but to demystify them. Betrayal is rarely about the victim. It is almost always a manifestation of the betrayer's internal conflict, fear, or weakness. Most people who act fake do so because they lack a solid core of self. They are like reeds blowing in the wind, changing their colors and loyalties based on the social climate of the moment. They betray because they are governed by their path, unregulated passions like envy, greed, or the desperate need for social standing. We must look at the short-term logic of the deceiver. A fake friend prioritizes a momentary gain, perhaps a better social connection, a small financial advantage, or a boost to their ego, over the long-term value of a virtuous character. From a Stoic perspective, this person is profoundly ignorant. They do not understand that by betraying you, they have inflicted a much deeper wound upon themselves than they ever could upon you. While you may have lost a companion, they have lost their integrity, which is the only true good a human possesses. Epictetus taught that the essence of a human being is their prohairesis, will or moral choice. When someone chooses deceit, they have corrupted their own essence. They are, in a sense, spiritually blind. When you realize that the person who betrayed you has traded their soul for a mess of pottage, your anger naturally dissolves into a form of objective pity. Furthermore, we must examine the concept of in-group complexity. Often, betrayal happens because of the human desire to belong to a perceived higher group. A fake friend might sell you out to gain favor with someone they perceive as more powerful. This is a classic Stoic indifferent, seeking external validation at the cost of internal virtue. By understanding this anatomy, you see that the fake behavior is a predictable outcome of a weak character facing temptation. It is as natural for a person without principles to betray as it is for a fire to burn or a stone to fall. When you strip away the personal narrative, the "how could they do this to me?" and replace it with the Stoic reality, they did this because they are slaves to their own impulses, the betrayal loses its power to hurt you. You are no longer the victim of a tragedy, you are simply an observer of a natural, albeit unfortunate, human phenomenon. This perspective shift is your first major step toward total emotional recovery. Chapter 4. The Stoic Shield, Protecting Your Inner Peace. Once we understand the why behind betrayal, we must build a fortress around our own mind. This is what the Stoics called the Inner Citadel. The goal of this chapter is to teach the viewer that while the world is full of fake people, their ability to disturb your peace is exactly zero, unless you hand them the key. Marcus Aurelius famously said, "Discard your misperceptions and you are saved." The Stoic shield is made of 3 distinct layers of psychological defense: the discipline of desire, the discipline of action, and the discipline of assent. The first layer, the discipline of desire, requires us to stop desiring things that are outside of our control, such as the loyalty of others or a good reputation among those who are not themselves virtuous. If you do not desire the approval of a fake friend, their betrayal cannot hurt you. You must realize that their loyalty was an external and indifferent. It was a nice thing to have, but it was never essential for your happiness. By shifting your desire from having loyal friends to being a loyal person yourself, you become invincible. Your happiness is now rooted in your own character, which no one can take from you. The second layer is the discipline of assent. This is the most powerful tool in the Stoic toolkit. When someone betrays you, your mind immediately receives an impression, the thought that, I have been harmed. The Stoic shield stops this impression at the gate. You must tell yourself, the impression is that my friend lied to me. The judgment that I am harmed is something I am adding myself. If your character remains intact, if you are still a person of honor, then you have not been harmed. Only your possessions or your social status have been touched, and to a Stoic, these are not the self. The final layer is premeditatio malorum, or the premeditation of evils. The Stoic shield is strengthened by expecting the worst. Every morning remind yourself, today I will meet the ungrateful, the violent, the treacherous, the envious, the uncharitable. This isn't being a pessimist, it's being a realist. When you expect that some people will be fake, you aren't shocked when it happens. The sting of betrayal comes from the element of surprise. By removing the surprise, you remove the sting. You are like a soldier who has already practiced the drill. When the attack comes, you don't panic, you simply execute your defense. You remain calm, you remain centered, and you remain the master of your own emotional state, even in the face of the ultimate deceit. Chapter 5. Cutting the Cord: How to Gracefully Exit Toxic Circles. There comes a moment in every Stoic's life where observation must turn into action. Once the Stoic test has revealed that a circle is toxic or a friend is fundamentally fake, the question becomes, how do we leave? Many people make the mistake of exiting with a bang, with arguments, accusations, and dramatic bridge burning. But the Stoic knows that drama is merely another form of being controlled by the other person. If you are shouting at someone for betraying you, you are still giving them your most precious resource, your energy and your peace. Cutting the cord the Stoic way is an exercise in calculated withdrawal. Epictetus taught that we should be careful about the company we keep, for, if you consort with someone covered in dirt, you can't help but get a little dirty yourself. To exit gracefully, you must first practice the internal divorce. Before you physically leave the group or stop answering texts, you must emotionally detach. You decide that their opinions no longer have any weight in the scales of your life. Once this internal shift happens, the physical exit becomes easy and quiet. You do not need to hold a trial to prove they were fake. You are not a judge and they are not your prisoner. You simply stop investing. The Stoic exit is often a quiet fade. You don't need to explain your reasons to people who lack the character to understand them. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself to be like the emerald that keeps its color, no matter what others say or do. If a circle is toxic, you simply drift toward more virtuous shores. You become busy with your own self-improvement, your own discipline, and your own purpose. If they reach out to manipulate you further, you respond with polite indifference. You are not cold out of malice. You are distant out of self-preservation. This chapter must emphasize that cutting the cord is not an act of hate, but an act of justice, one of the 4 Stoic virtues. It is just to yourself to protect your mind, and it is just to the world to spend your time with those who actually contribute to the common good. By leaving toxic circles quietly, you preserve your dignity. You leave them with their chaos and you take your peace with you. You realize that you don't owe a fake friend an explanation for why you no longer wish to be betrayed. Your silence is your boundary, and your absence is your final word. Chapter 6. The Art of Silence: Why Explanations Are Unnecessary. One of the most difficult impulses to overcome when faced with betrayal is the urge to explain yourself, to point out the other person's hypocrisy, or to set the record straight. We want the world to know we were right and they were wrong. However, the Stoic understands that words are often the fuel that keeps the fire of toxicity burning. Zeno, the founder of Stoicism, famously said, "We have 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason, so that we may hear more and talk less." In the context of fake friends, silence is not a sign of weakness. It is the ultimate expression of power and self-containment. When you attempt to explain your pain to a person who has already demonstrated a lack of empathy or integrity, you are performing a fruitless labor. A fake friend is not looking for truth, they are looking for leverage. Every explanation you provide is merely more information they can distort to justify their own behavior or to use against you in other social circles. By remaining silent, you deny them that leverage. You become a blank wall upon which their deceit has nothing to grip. This is the Stoic practice of ascesis, the training of the will to resist the ego's demand for validation. The art of silence also serves as a profound psychological boundary. When someone betrays you, they expect a reaction, anger, tears, or a long-winded confrontation. This reaction gives them a sense of importance. It confirms that they have the power to disturb your soul. When you respond with calm, dignified silence, you reclaim that power. You communicate without saying a word that their actions are below your level of concern. As Marcus Aurelius noted, the best revenge is not to be like that. By refusing to engage in the petty back and forth of social drama, you maintain your status as a person of character. Furthermore, silence allows you to process the betrayal internally rather than externally. Instead of wasting breath on those who do not value your voice, you use that energy to reflect on your own inner citadel. You ask yourself, what part of my own judgment allowed this person in? What can I learn from this silence? This is the silence of the philosopher, not the silence of the victim. It is a strategic, peaceful withdrawal that leaves the fake friend to deal with the loudest thing of all, their own guilty conscience and the void where your presence used to be. Chapter 7. Amor Fati, Loving the Lessons of Betrayal. To the average person, betrayal is a tragedy to be mourned. To the Stoic, betrayal is a raw material to be used. This brings us to the concept of Amor Fati, or the love of fate. This is not just about tolerating what happens to you, it is about embracing it as if you had chosen it yourself. When a fake friend reveals their true colors, the Stoic does not say, "Why did this happen to me?" Instead, they say, "This happened for me." How can betrayal be a gift? In this chapter, we explore the Stoic alchemy of turning poison into medicine. Every act of deceit from a fake friend is a lesson that you could not have learned in comfort. It is a stress test for your character. Epictetus taught that circumstances don't make the man, they only reveal him to himself. Betrayal reveals where your defenses were weak. It reveals if you were too dependent on external validation. It reveals if you were prioritizing being liked over being wise. When you embrace Amor Fati, you stop viewing the fake friend as an enemy and start viewing them as an involuntary teacher. They have taught you the value of discernment. They have taught you how to stand alone. They have taught you that your peace of mind is your own responsibility. Without the sting of their betrayal, you might have remained naive and vulnerable for the rest of your life. The fake friend has, in a strange way, done you a favor by exiting your life and leaving you with a sharper mind and a stronger heart. Loving your fate means realizing that the betrayal was a necessary part of your evolution. You do not wish it didn't happen. You are grateful that it happened now rather than later. You accept the pain as the cost of tuition in the school of life. By adopting this mindset, you become truly unbreakable. You are no longer a victim of circumstances. You are the architect of your own growth. You look at the scar left by the betrayal and see it not as a mark of shame, but as a badge of wisdom. You have survived the fire, and like tempered steel, you have emerged harder, sharper, and more resilient than ever before. The ultimate reason betrayal hurts so deeply is that we have outsourced our happiness to other people. We have made our peace of mind a hostage to the loyalty of friends, the approval of peers, and the stability of our social circles. But the Stoic knows that the only person who will be with you from your first breath to your last is you. Therefore, the most important relationship you will ever cultivate is the one you have with your own soul. In this chapter, we explore the concept of autarkia or self-sufficiency. Seneca once wrote, "I am never less alone than when alone." This is the goal of the Stoic, to reach a state where you are so content with your own company, your own virtues, and your own thoughts that the departure of a fake friend feels like losing a shadow rather than losing a limb. When you are self-reliant, you do not need friends, you prefer them. This is a subtle but world-shifting distinction. If you need someone, they have power over you. If you simply prefer them, you remain free. Becoming your own best friend means treating yourself with the same discipline and kindness you would offer a person of high character. It means being the observer of your own thoughts and the guardian of your own integrity. When a fake friend leaves, the void they leave behind is not a hole in your life, it is simply space. Space for you to breathe, space for you to study, and space for you to strengthen your prohairesis, your moral will. Stoic self-reliance is not about being a hermit or hating people. On the contrary, when you don't need anything from others, you can love them more purely because you aren't trying to get something from them. You become a person who can stand alone in a storm and not be moved. You find your validation in your own progress, your own morning routines, and your own adherence to your principles. When you reach this level of self-mastery, the word betrayal almost loses its meaning. How can someone betray you if you never gave them the power to define your worth? You are your own foundation, your own witness, and your own greatest ally.